Hello, welcome to another Retainer Designer live stream. This is 2 weeks in a row I'm working on plaster models. As you can see in the thumbnail, some teeth got broken off in shipping, and I thought, well, let me show you how I fix the teeth. Now this is a challenge because we're putting a labial bow here, and we're putting acrylic on there too. So it's a little bit of a challenge today because I got to make sure that the super glue I use isn't going to interfere with the acrylic. So I'll show you what I do in a little bit, what I do there. But first things first is we're going to trim this thing. Let me switch cameras here. As you can see, this is untrimmed. It was just mailed to me like this. So I do have some handy dandy, these are stuff you use in a garden. It's a trick I picked up from lab I used to work at. And I'm just gonna trim. I'm just putting this in the garbage here. I don't know if you can see from with everything in the shot, but I'm just barely clicking off this. So I thought I'd do it before I glue those teeth back on, because there's a good chance I could knock them off. You can break teeth doing this, and crack it down the middle. You never want to do this like this and do it in the middle because you'll split this. Done it. Trust me, it's not fun to deal with. Okay, so we have this. Let's see, can I zoom in a little bit? Oh yeah, there we go. And we have the teeth. So the good thing is, when my wife unpacked it, she found the teeth. They're floating around in the box, and it's so much better if you actually have the teeth instead of trying to wax these to where you think the teeth were. That's the difficult part. Let's see. Oh, that's weird. Sorry about that. All right, so as you can see, these fit perfectly. So it's always good to trial fit these to make sure they're going to fit. Now this one broke into 2 pieces, which is wonderful, I guess. I don't know. So I'm going to have to glue these 2 together. I got to figure out which way they go. I think like this. I don't know when this one broke in half. It's somewhere between when I took the picture for the thumbnail and when I started the live stream. It broke. So I am... Okay, let's glue it together first. All right, what I'm going to do is use this stuff right here. This is Zap It Base. It's like a dental glue, a dental lab adhesive, and it uses an accelerator to have the glue set up on me. Otherwise, like regular super glue, if y'all have used that before, it's like hold the pieces together for like 30 or 60 seconds. This one, you don't have to do that. So now it's just a matter of putting a puzzle together. Like so. Now, theoretically, these should not set up until I spray it with the accelerator spray. So I'm going to... So just put a little bit. I don't want to put too much. And put this on here. I'm kind of pushing it down. So you see there's a little bit of spillover. I'm just going to clean it up with my finger. Wipe it on my paper towel here. Oh, I went a little too aggressive with the pushing of the down of the teeth. There we go. Now, I'm going to move this out of the way because I have my accelerator spray over here. Thank you to my friend Steve Zara, to let me know, hey, keep this and this, your accelerator and this, far apart, because just the fumes coming off of this will travel over to it and set up your stuff. I have some fillet material here, it's the same stuff, but it's solid because I kept these two too close together. So now let me spray this. So within like 3 seconds, it sets up the initial set, and then it goes from there. But you can see there's some cracks here, and I need to fill in those cracks now with wax. That kind of rhymes. So I got my pink wax here, and I'm just going to fill it in. If you hear my daughter, she is in the other room playing some game with her friends from school. I think it's Roblox or something. Anyway, we're going to fill in this. Now, this fix-it powder, geez, I hadn't talked about that in a long time. This glue is what is being used. It's chemically very similar to the acrylic. Like cyanoacrylate is what this is, and the acrylic we're using is methyl methacrylate, so they're pretty similar. So it will actually stick to this glue, which is really bad. Now, if you've never seen Ortho Lab before, and you have your own retainer, there are many kids that try to super glue their retainer back together, and it holds for a little bit, but it eventually fails. It's not a full-blown repair you can do with super glue. It does a little bit of it. You always have to come in and get it repaired with actual acrylic for it to be able to hold up, especially in the mouth. So now, one thing I was worried about with this is we're doing a wraparound retainer with labial acrylic. So that's why I'm being real careful. And I'm just scraping off. I don't want to get it too thick. So I filled in the gaps, and I covered over any exposed cyanoacrylate. So that way we are safe from sticking to it. So we're going to make a wraparound holly. So I'm going to clean this up. Now, they did in the instructions realized that they didn't get full impression of the sevens. Usually wraparounds will go around the distal of this, but you can see they didn't get a full impression. So they told me go ahead and just put the wraparound distal to the sixes, or the first molars. So this is where we're going to bend the wire. And I'm marking it so I remember to go distal to the sixes, because I've done it before where they've asked the distal sixes, and I've carved all this and spent all my time and didn't pay attention to the instructions. And always read the prescription. That is a lot of rules. Number one rule in dental labs is always read the prescription. So I'm going to use my separator, and this is for plaster models. So if you've watched my channel before, you know that I've mentioned that like 70 to 80% of my work that comes in is digital models. So I don't use these stone plaster models. And this shows one of the downfalls of using stone and plaster is because the teeth are more fragile. They're brittle. It's pretty strong, but if you drop it or don't pack it right, it's not good. So we're gonna put this under the fan real quick. Probably safe for me to move this back to where it was. I get a little nervous when I spray this area and it doesn't work. Let's see, do I have a picture-in-picture camera here? I do. Hello. It looks like I'm having bad internet, and I apologize. I think all my kids are using internet right now, and I should have told them, everyone, please stop. Okay. Let's do a second coat of this. Yeah. So this separator, it just makes like a film and kind of seals up. So the stone, I use stone and plaster interchangeably. I honestly don't know if this is stone or plaster. Most likely it's stone. Plaster's a little weaker. But yeah, this is probably a stone model. But this separator, you put 2 coats on it and you're good to go. So it seals it because these are actually porous, the models are, as compared to like a 3D printed model. They're not porous unless you print some holes in there, but you do a different separator for that. Okay. Oh, I forgot something I was going to draw on here. So they actually like keeper wires. So this is going to be wraparound with labial acrylic and keeper wires. I like to start with, let's get a whole new tube. 032 wire. So we're going to take this straight piece of wire and we're going to bend it into a wraparound. Where's my pin? There we go. If you haven't seen my channel before, my name's Cade, and I like to put, my wife and I own an orthodontic lab out in the country. If you can't tell by my accent, we're in Texas, North Texas, and we have a little bit of land out in the country, and we have a little building. Let's see if I can zoom out a little bit. Nope, that's exposure. Zoom out. And so we have a little building, like a tiny home, but we convert it into a lab, and that's where we work. So this is what we're working on right now, is going to be delivered tomorrow. I didn't get it done on Friday like I thought, but it worked out because I thought this is kind of a good way to show, you know, hey, there's adversity, you got some broken teeth, you can work your way around it. Now, if I didn't have those teeth to glue back on, the tips of those teeth, then I would probably have to call the doctor and go, hey, can I get a new impression? Nobody wants to deal with that. There goes Pete. All right, where is my 3 prongs? Where's my shot? Oh. Well. Well, where are my 3 prong? Well, here, I'll use these. These are, I don't even know if they make these anymore. These are old. You can see it got my old lab name on there. Oh gosh, these things are probably 20-something years old. Maybe, I don't know when I got these. 2004. You can tell because I've worn that little grooves in them. You see those grooves on the ends? Which makes for very smooth bending, but it doesn't bend it very far. So, all right, so we're gonna go around the first molar. we go. A little too far, Cade. A little too far. There we go. Now let's cross the occlusion right here. Take my bird beaks. I'm gonna bend up a little bit. I feel like I need to get this model closer to me. Let's cross. You know what, let's keep it right there and let's make the other half. So I've gone from the middle down one side and we're gonna go down the other side here. Now I'm not too worried about trying to touch every single one of these teeth on the front because we're gonna put labial acrylic on there. And we'll get to the acrylicing part of it and probably the trimming. I don't know if we'll make it all the way to pumicing and high shine. We'll see. Because I usually do these live streams. I usually just take an hour and see how far I can get in an hour, start to finish. There we go. Y'all let me know if the internet's okay. I'm getting a bad internet signal for some reason. But I can't tell on my end, so I apologize. The good news is there will be a downloaded version of this, the Patreon. So I'll go back and watch this. If there's a link to my Patreon account. If the internet's bad, I will make the ad-free version free. I saw in my Patreon account, I usually do ad-free versions of these, and it's a download of the recording I'm doing. So I'll make it free for everybody. So head over there. It should be uploaded Monday-ish, or tonight, Monday morning. Depends on, again, if I'm having bad internet issues, I don't know if I can download it or upload it. Now let's cut this short. So I like to contour this almost like a C-clasp on the back end of this wraparound. So I dent the wire in and then curve around the buckle side. And then that way it gives a little bit of retention. Kind of like a C-clasp would be. C-clasp just starts here in the corner and wraps around. So the important part about this is I need to make sure everything's level before I go too far. It is not. It is way off. Wow, Cade. Oh, you just get the jibber jabbering. I think I straightened it. I did. Pretty good. Let's go ahead, and these two wires in the back are going to start interacting with each other. So let me see if I can tuck one away, finish it out, and bend this back a little bit, and then curve this in. Curve that in. Curve that in. I feel like I'm in such a rush. Sometimes I just have to say, slow down, Cade. You're just rushing to rush. Okay. So I'm going to cut this here. Let me do the other side. Before I do a little curly Q there, I'm going to do the other side, see if I can get those two arms the same length. I just got to make sure I'm back. I'm a little flared out. Let's tuck that down. There's that. Okay. Crossing over the occlusion. There we go. Okay, not where I want. Come on. Okay, I'm good. False alarm. Let's turn this forward. Notice I put these little bins up so they don't, you can see it would be interacting here. So now you can see how long this is and how short this is. So I'm going to straighten this if I can. Let me just go ahead and cut it. And contour just a little bit. Yeah, I think I need to cut both these kind of short. Because remember, I'm going to have a wire going right across here. So let me actually make my mark about where I put those marks. And then I'm going to cut these short and curl them up. Oh. Let's make my little, these you can do anything you want. You can do curly Qs, zigzags, whatever you want. What color acrylic is this going to be? Luminary Blueberry. Very cool. So notice how I was off on my curly Q here. So I just grab it like that and I rotate it just like that. So let me adjust this. I think we're almost ready to wax this down. And I got a little bump right here. I think I need to flatten that. And it's probably going to mess everything up. So y'all enjoy the ride. Almost fixed it. Yeah, I still need to curl it in some more. Wraparounds are difficult because it's all one solid piece of wire. So if you mess up something over here, it can mess up something on the other side. Okay, let's wax this down. And bend those last 2 wires, and we're ready for acrylic. We'll see how much adjustments I need to do. Yeah, not too bad. I need to make a bend right there to get it. See if I hold that there and push up, you can kind of see where are my good 3 prongs? Over here. So let's see if I can put a little bit of a stronger angle there. Yeah, okay, I like that. And this doesn't contour as much as this one does, so that means I need to raise this up a bit here. I was crossing the occlusion a little prematurely. That's better, so let's try it again. Let's see if we can squeeze some more blood out of this rock. Nope, okay. All right, stop. And I need to fix this going over the occlusion now. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna put a little wax right there. I'm not gonna put any in the front because remember I'm putting acrylic on there. I'm gonna put one right here. I gotta make sure it doesn't spill over. I'm about to put a wire right here. Okay, we're ready for the keeper wires. Or labial bow support wires, that's another way to call it. So what I'm doing is 025 is what I'm gonna go with. Can I make my computer brighter? Yes, okay. And I'm going to get my jar back pliers here. Let me get where's my foot pedal? There we go. I'm gonna flatten that. Then I just take my pliers and I make a little thing like that. If y'all can see that. And I'm gonna hook it onto the wire right there. So it's hooked on there. When we're all done, I'm gonna close that down. When we're done with the whole retainer, I'll close that down a little bit. This helps out a lot because one, we have to scallop the retainer on the inside, and it's nice to be able to unhook this outer labial bow. It makes it easier when you're trimming and pumicing and stuff to be able to unhook that labial bow. All right. So let's cut that. And make my curlicue. My little teardrop. This is, you know, every lab's different. If you have a ortho lab, let me know. What do y'all like to do for your little acrylic anchor bins? Do you do a loop like this? Do you do a zigzag? You just do a right angle? I've done them all, and it's also depending on. I'm gonna relieve a little bit of gums right here. It seems to be interacting. There we go. So depending on which lab you work at, you gotta, you know, make them all. You know, the retainers need to look like they all came from the same lab. So every wire bender has to be on the same page of how you're going to do the inside acrylic tag or anchor bins or whatever you want to call them. So I'm going to put a little wax right there to hold that, and then we'll go to the other side. So these don't take very long. So what I'm doing with this stone wheel is I'm smoothing the end so it doesn't catch a lip or something like that. So we're going to curl this, And then I hook it on there. Let's see. I like to see how far I can curl it. Again, it's got to be, the opening has to be as thick as the wire you're hooking it on. And so then we're going to go over the occlusion. The thing about wraparounds, the whole mission really of the wraparounds is to not have many wires going over the occlusion. Usually the wraparound goes around the last, what they call the terminal tooth. So it's the last tooth, and it wraps around that, which means there's no wires going across the occlusion. But it makes it very floppy. This wire it makes it very unstable and floppy, that long of a span of wire. So that's where these come in, and we're using, so this wire is 0.32 of an inch, and this is 0.25 of an inch. And so it's very thin, and it goes in between these two teeth. And hopefully it doesn't interfere. I don't have the lower model to check. If I did, I could put the teeth together, but most likely it won't interact there. All right, so let's put some wax down. We're ready for acrylic. All right, so let's see here. What's going on? Let's do this. All right, so I got to figure out why this thing's not working. It just suddenly stopped working on me. Close. I was going to use this for my camera. It's just not going to connect, is it? I think I know why. Yep, it's on the wrong. It connected to the wrong one. There we go, right here. I need to have it forget that other one. There we go. All right, so I'm going to position this over here. We're going to do the acrylic over here. And y'all can't see what I'm doing, but you got to trust me. And clean up my area, get a new paper towel down. All right, so let's go to this. See if I can zoom in a bit. There we go. Luminary blueberry. So, luminary blueberry. Again, so I'll start with labial acrylic. And I'm using this tinted clear. So this is standard clear. See, there's a slight yellow tinge in it, and they do yellow a little bit over time. It's just the natural product. You can't see this. There we go. So again, doing labial acrylic. And I'm pretty much using splint resin, so it's going to be pretty durable and crystal clear. I do like to build this up. It's pretty big teeth here, but I do like to taking a little bit to. I do like to build it up because I find that this will set up first. Since I'm doing it first. And the reason I do it first is I don't want this luminary blueberry to spill over onto the facial, and then I cover it with clear acrylic, and it's just going to turn the front teeth purple. So So I do my first undercoat, and I just use clear. That's mainly because here in the state of Texas, we have to put some form of identification in there. So I put it on the tissue side. So I put a layer of clear, I lay that name in there, and the name has white print on clear tape. So it's a P-Touch labeler. I know it looks like I'm just spraying monomer on this. So this color is polymer. The powder is called polymer, and what I'm spraying on here is monomer, and they have almost an allergic reaction, a chemical reaction to each other, and it starts hardening. So I have about 10 minutes from the time I start till it starts to harden, and it's called cold cure. I got this question from, I think it was Diana Lopez. She emailed me and asking the difference between cold cure and heat cure. And cold cure is, you could think of it the same as chemical cure. It uses a chemical reaction. It's got activators and initiators and stuff in the powder. And heat cure, you need heat, and they use that a lot for dentures and splints and stuff like that. But everything I have here in here is cold cure. But I still use heat, and I still use a pressure pot. And the main reason for that is it just makes for a denser, more clear acrylic when I get done. I'm gonna slow down my monomer drop. So looked like I was just spraying it on there. Now, these blue types of polymer, they tend to separate when you put monomer on them. The pigments will spread. So I use a lot of tiny little dots, droplets, and that makes that spread a little smaller, and it's a lot less noticeable. Okay, let's cut this labial acrylic. I'm gonna wet it a little bit. You can see it's already starting to set up on me when it starts to get frosty like that. Okay, let's cut this. And cut here. Now what this does is it helps to separate this off the model, and of course it saves some trimming time. So we'll trim this. If you have any questions, load them up in the comments, and I'll answer them while we're waiting on this to cure in the pressure bottle. Should take about 5 minutes to cure. See, it's already setting up, and I can tell by the way it's coming off of the model. It's a little stringy. See, it's already starting to attach together, so I know it's getting time. So, all right, let's put it in the pressure pot. I'll show you what I do for these stone models. So I have a coffee cup upside down in here, and I put it on that coffee cup for its initial set. So here in a few minutes, I'll come back and try to stick my fingernail in that acrylic. And if I can't stick my fingernail in that acrylic, I'm going to put it in the water. That means we got the initial set, and it'll do its final cure in the water. Okay. Oh, here's thank you for great content. By the way, what is your first AIDS protocol when you poke your fingers? Any recommendation for faster recovery? Oh my gosh, AIDS protocol. Or is it like first aid? Not like HIV AIDS? because that was a big deal back when we used impressions. So we don't get impressions much. I don't get impressions ever anymore. Back when we did study models and stuff, we would get these impressions in. You have to disinfect them and all that stuff. But as far as poking your finger, you know, you have Band-Aids ready for that. Squeeze out as much as you can the blood, and I'd use a paper towel, and then eventually it just stops bleeding, and then I'll put a Band-Aid on it. And I like these waterproof Band-Aids. Next, I think I got them in my Amazon cart link below, Nextel Band-Aids or something like that. But yeah, that's what I do. Now I do have a nasty story. The boss I used to work for, he poked his finger with wire really bad, and he went almost directly to pumice, and must have got pumice in there or something in there, and the thing got infected and pussy. It was so gross. He was like having to pop it and clear it out. I know, it's nasty, but anyway, he had to like wear a Band-Aid for like and even a finger cot, which is pretty much like if you got the rubber gloves, you can put finger cot on. You can cut one of the fingers off the gloves and roll it on. So that's another thing you can do, is if you poke your finger and you got to do something wet with your hands, put some latex gloves on. So yeah, I don't have really anything fast to recovery. My wife swears by colloidal silver, and it's just a drop of colloidal silver on there. I also have some Neosporin. You could fix your finger with Neosporin if you want it to. So let's go check that thing. That's the wrong. Okay. Yep, it's still soft. I can still put my finger in there. This is hard. Remember, we did this one first. So I'm going to wait a little bit. Wait a little bit longer. So anyway, that being said, I'm still getting my internet connection warning thing. I need to look that up, see what that means. But again, if you there is a link to my Patreon account, and I usually for my patrons, the ones that spend like $1 a month, I give them an ad-free version of this live stream. And so if I'll watch this back, if the internet's pretty bad on it, I'll make that post for free for public for everybody to watch, so you can watch it ad-free, and you won't have to worry about any breaks or anything like that. What time is it? 6:14. So I got 15 minutes, so I might be able to do this in under an hour. And so let me walk around. Let's see. I don't like this. I'm gonna do something over here. I don't know if this thing's gonna track me or not. Oh, it looks like it is. Okay. So I have my pumice area here. I'm already trying to think ahead, and I like to soak these. These are rag wheels, plastic centered rag wheels is what I use to pumice, and I like to soak them. So I usually have a little dish, little Tupperware thing in my sink with water in it, and I'll just dump it in there. And I have a little tray here, and in this tray there's actually some retainers ready to pumice, and they all have, you can see the labial acrylic on these. But one thing I did forget to do is my new steamer. Make sure you watch that video. I do a review on it. Let me turn this on, and maybe it'll be ready to go by the time that thing cures. But let's go check that, see if that's ready to put in the water. Let's go here. Yep, it's already hard, so a few more minutes in the water. and we'll be ready to go. Okay. Let's see if I can do this. I wish I had my duck cam on, and because my wife, one of the reasons we moved out in the country, she wanted to raise ducks, and she got chickens on the side too. But we usually have a duck cam, and you probably already heard our rooster Pete crowing earlier, but I didn't get a duck cam, and it's hot. It's hot here in Texas. It's like 90-something degrees. But if I put my phone out there, usually I have to use my phone and point it out there. And if I put it in direct sunlight, the thing shuts down. The phone does, because it gets too hot. It's kind of like if you ever left your phone in your car and it's hot. It says it's in cool down mode or something like that. Okay, let's go check that again. I think it should be cured enough. What I worry about is when I'm separating it and it's not cured, you can actually warp it. And you'll take up one side stays down, the other side comes up, and so then it's warped. And it cures that way. So I just want to make sure it's completely cured before I take it off. Now this stuff, acrylic does finish curing like 48 hours after you start. So it's still off-gassing and curing, and it'll finish its final cure 48 hours. So that's why sometimes if you get a retainer from your doctor and it tastes bad, like it tastes like acrylic, if you want to know what it smells like in here, I can't smell anymore. It smells like a nail salon because it's close to the same acrylics they use in a nail salon. Again, the chemicals are very similar. So acrylic nails uses kind of the same stuff, so it smells the same. But that's what, so you would smell that in your mouth, but you give it some time, it finishes curing, and there's no harm in that. So let's grab this out of the pressure pot. Oh. I have my old rag here. So I'm going to scrape the wax off. I usually like to do that first. So this will be the moment of truth to see if, I don't think it did, see if the teeth that I glued on, if the glue stuck to the acrylic. Oh yeah, look, the two teeth I glued on stayed. This one, it broke off. Oh no, they just broke off. So it makes me wonder if the laterals were also like cracked. Usually we don't worry about reattaching those teeth. One thing, the lab I used to work at, they had a little container, and they would take these teeth and they would put it in the container. They'd keep that retainer for like a week. And so like if a repair came back with the model but the teeth had broken off, we can go through that little container. Now that was like putting a puzzle together because you had to find the right teeth for the right model. Or if it goes through the system and we got to repair it before it goes out the door, and you need those teeth on there to repair it, you got to go find those teeth and then do what we did at the beginning of this video. So we have this ready to go. I think I have my, no, not that. That one, there we go. We'll trim this, and yeah, we got 10 minutes. See if we can trim it, pumice and polish it in 10 minutes. Am I on the right screen? Can y'all hear me? Yeah, okay. So you can see this has not been cleaned up since last Friday. I'm going to turn on the suction here. Let's clean this. Make it respectable. So the first thing we're going to do is bulk trim. So let me move this camera over So I have my lathe, and I got this idea from Steve Zara. I got my lathe and I drilled a hole through my box here, and that way I can trim inside the box because I have suction and I don't have to worry about acrylic dust going everywhere. So mainly what I do with this aluminum oxide wheel is I just do bulk trimming, do bulk shaping. I think I want to make this a little bit more horseshoe. I usually try to match it to the roof of the mouth. Usually the rugae's here, and I like to try and do it to the bottom of the rugae. Got to be careful, because if I hit a wire with this aluminum oxide wheel, it will chew through that wire like nobody's business. I'm working on the labial acrylic, just trying to get it roughly the shape I want it to end with, thickness wise. Sometimes it's hard to get the wheel in there. So this still feels thick to me, but I can't get my wheel. I'm going to do it with a burr to try to thin that out. And of course that's going to make it hard to pumice. I mean, it's got that sharp of a sharp. What am I trying to say? Let's move it over to the handpiece. Get some more light in here. Okay. I usually just start with the gum line here. Oh, this is a brand new burr, I can tell. Oh, I gotta be careful. With the brand new burr, I'll end up digging through this pretty quick. But it's gonna be good to thin out the roof of the mouth here. Let me taper this. You can see how rough that wheel made it, and this is smoothing that roughness out. So just like in like painting automobiles or you know, sanding wood for staining or painting or something, you always start with the coarsest grit and you work your way down to more fine grit. So each one of these stages is progressively a more finer grit. So I'm just pinching it. You just kind of learn what 2 to 3 millimeters is with your, that's what you want, that's your goal, 2 to 3 millimeters. You don't want any thinner because it'll make the acrylic weaker, and you don't want any thicker because the kid won't wear it. It'll be harder for them to get used to it. I'm going to take my stainless steel bristle brush here. I got a bad batch of these. They're terrible. These don't hurt the wire, so I can get right up on the wire. In fact, it polishes the wire a little bit. And this particular doctor likes this corner of the adjustment loop free. There we go. But you need a pretty thin. These were flaring out. This is actually a pretty decent one. They weren't staying thin like this or going poof like my hair does when it's humid outside. Alright, back to this. Let's clean up this. Again, so I like to make the labial acrylic thick. It gives me room to trim back. Because if it's right on the wire, you have a more tendency to hit the wire on accident with your burr trying to trim it. So I'm actually pushing with my thumb to get it clear of this, so otherwise I'm trimming on it. Okay. What next? Oh, I need scallop. Oh, I need the model. What did I do with the model? That's over here. We'll keep these teeth handy just in case. But what scalloping means is, do I have a pen or a pencil? There we go. The doctor doesn't want it to touch the teeth, and so our acrylic on the interior. So our acrylic is going to do this. So I'm going to use a more fine cut. This is an acrylic. No, that's metal. Well, where is it? There it is. It's right there in front of me. So here is a fine cut. I think I need to steam this. There's some wax or something in there. Alright, I'll be right back. Is my steamer on? Yes, it is. Oh, that's getting hot. You get wax or stuff in there. Oh, it's still in there. Alright, so I'm going to, you can kind of see the gum line. So that's my guide. And I'm not very good at this. My wife has gotten really good at doing this, and I'd rather have her do it. And I probably should have paid her to come in here and do this one for me. It just seems counterintuitive to do this. If anybody does these a lot, put some tips and tricks down in the comments. Let me know. Just kind of taking my time. Make sure you got good lighting so that you can see where those gum lines are on the inside of the acrylic. So the acrylic's going to pick up the gum line. So now, that looks terrible. So now we're going to taper it in. Make it smooth to the tongue. Then, again, you're going to do this to your doctor's preference. You know, some will want them touching the teeth just ever so slightly, and some will want to not touch the teeth at all. I know one mentioned he doesn't like if the acrylic's thick up front. It causes a tongue thrusting. I'm getting distracted from my scalloping. Just kind of smoothing, tapering. All right, let's put it on the model. I haven't done that yet. There we go. So now you can see it's scalloped. It's just barely touching the teeth. Now when I pumice, it's gonna pull back even more. So like what my wife likes to do, she likes to leave these tips pretty long and just let the pumice naturally, leave these tips pretty long and let the pumice just naturally wear them down smooth. All right. Now I'm going to look at the thickness. Yeah, it's a little thick there. I'm going to just taper this toward the teeth. Yeah, you want that labial bow to be comfortable for the patient, but yet thick enough to not be cracking and breaking. All right, one thing you can do is use one of these 3M Scotch-Brite things. So this is where the unhooking helps. See, I'll unhook that. And now you can see I can move this labial bow out of my way. But whenever you go to put it back on the model, it's not going to fit until you rehook the labial bows into those. I do have on my channel one where I do a complete wraparound, and those are more beautiful and they don't unhook, but that's the bad thing is they don't unhook and they're harder to repair. So I've been switched over to this one. I'm looking at the thickness and making sure it's pretty uniform. So now we're going to sandpaper. Remember how I said we're just going through progressively finer and finer grit? So even the pumice is considered an abrasive. This is like 150 grit sandpaper. And let's see if I can do 1/2 of this. So y'all can see, maybe y'all can see in this camera. So you see how coarse it is? I don't know if y'all can see it or not. But then it smooths out here. So this also helps to identify low spots and high spots and things like that, since it's so tubular, cylinder shaped. And I put that little cylinder shape in those scallop areas. The more I do this, I like doing this. You don't have to, you can go straight to pumice, but the pumice just takes so long. All right, I believe we are ready for the pumice. So let me get that camera set up. We'll be right back. Let's see. I gotta drop this down. Hold on. I'm about to bring y'all in here so y'all can see what I'm doing. Nope. Let me turn everything on. And all right, there's our pumice. And I like to, you see the powderness of this? This means it's been drying all weekend. So that's one good thing is this doesn't hold moisture, which, you know, makes it less bacteria and stuff like that. So I'm going to re-wet it. And there's an antibacterial in this. This is pumice substitute called PS Dazzle. I just think it does a really great job. But the bad thing about it is sometimes the powder is bad for your lungs if it's floating in the air. So you can probably hear a fan in the background, and that's just to draw that powder away from you. But once it's wet, it doesn't float in the air. So I'm going to take this wheel I soaked and just let it thread itself onto there. And I got to find what I do with the retainer. Where's the retainer? Wait, I meant to put the... Oh. I put the model... Yeah, I put the retainer here. All right, here we go. Why is this in my way? So I'm gonna unhook this so I can move this labial bow out of the way. And this is where I'm gonna pumice the scallop area. Really blend everything together. And it's the pumice doing the work, not necessarily the wheel. The wheel's, you know, putting the pumice against. So you make sure you're always putting fresh pumice. Am I on the right? Yes, I am. Make sure I'm on the right camera shot. I've done this before where I'm on the wrong camera shot the whole time. Just feel it with my finger to make sure it's nice and smooth. Let me double check everything in here. So I'm just running the light around. You see the shine, and I can see where there's high spots and low spots with that light. I keep going back to auto body. They use, you know, a grid of light so they can see the contours. They can see dents better. Maybe I should have been a auto body mechanic. Nah, I like doing this. Whoop, just flung that. We'll see if that ruined it. It's always that last bit. You're like, oh, I'm gonna just pumice this last little bit and I'll be done. And then it flings and it ruins it and you gotta redo the whole thing. Okay, this side is the polished side, so this is the fun part. So I got a nice clean wheel on here. This is our JBC Afterglow. Let's start with the labial acrylic. Let's move this thing. Start with the labial acrylic first. Get that nice and clean, clear. Okay, so move to the inside. See, it's still unhooked. I'm still get that labial, especially when there's labial acrylic on a wraparound. It really helps to be able to unhook those. Okay. We are finished. Let's put this back on the... Let me steam this real quick. Watch your ears. Paper towel. All right. We are 11 minutes over. Okay, so I almost did it in an hour. Okay, so I got the strings all over it. That's the bad thing about using a new pumice wheel. or a new high shine wheel. So anyway, I got it done. Nice and shiny. So what I'm going to do is rehook these back on like so, and then we'll snap this on. And then we got the scalloping like the doctor likes it. We got the labial acrylic. See, you can't tell that those teeth were broken off when you look at this. And you can see where it was, how tall the teeth were on here. So the teeth were, you know, to like there. So that's the reason we glued those back on before we started. So we can bend the wire against it, and so that we can, I'm still trying to get these strings off, and so we can do the acrylic against the natural teeth instead of trying to wax some fake tooth in there and then it doesn't fit the mouth. Oh, the strings are all over the place. All right, let me QC this real quick and we'll button this live stream up. So I'm going to kind of activate that. Yeah, I need to activate that or tighten that a bit. Let me do it this way. All right, so now, like I said before, oh, I still need to, no, I don't, it's touching. Didn't look like, oh, there's acrylic there, keeping it from touching. So you got to keep an eye out for that. Sometimes that acrylic will slide in your way. So what I'm going to do is, I got a pair of pliers. I got these from Great Lakes, and I like them because they open parallel. There's something in there preventing it from closing all the way. And it's got a little groove here. So I like to I'm going to be dealing with these strings the whole time. So I like to close those down. That way it doesn't come unhooked. You know, the patient accidentally unhooking it. There we go. Let me tighten that labial bow a bit. Snug it up. And what I'll do is I'll put this in the ultrasonic, and it's got some disinfectant in there, and it'll be ready to go. Clean up the model a bit, and that's ready to go. And so there it is. There's your final product. I'm sure this is glow in the dark. If I turned out all the lights in here, it'd glow a little bit. With a labial acrylic on a broken tooth model. So that being said, we will end it there. Yeah, we'll end it there, and thank y'all for watching. Again, if y'all are having internet issues, check out my Patreon. I'll put a link into the ad-free version of this, probably keep it free for a few weeks, so that you can watch this if there's some detail that you were trying to figure out I was doing, and the internet pootered out on you. So keep an eye out for that, and I appreciate it. And if you are interested in, if you're still watching this, you might still be interested in opening up your own ortho lab or becoming an orthodontic technician, check the link below. I'm putting together an online course. I'm starting with wire bending. I'm about halfway through my wire bending 101 course I'm building. I would like to interview you if you're really interested. Now, if you're really interested, I want to interview you and ask you a few questions of what you're needing to go from orthodontic technician to orthodontic owner, if you want to be like me and my wife and own your own lab, work out of your house. If you're interested in doing that, it takes a lot of training, a lot of practice, and I'm trying to put together an online course for that so you can learn from home. So with that being said, if you're interested in doing that, check out the link below to to the contact me page on my retainerdesigneracademy.com, and that way I think you can schedule a 30-minute phone call where I just want to ask some questions of what you're looking for to make sure that the online course has it included in there. So again, if you're interested in doing this, going from orthodontic lab technician to orthodontic lab owner, let me know. Hit me up in there. So until then, like I say every live stream, I'll see you next week, and happy bending.